Hey everyone, welcome to Fighting Over the Car Catalog, a snarky look back on young adult novels of the 80s and 90s. I'm Jess.
And I'm Stephen, and I'm here to make my wife happy.
We're taking a journey to find out how many terrible, and hopefully some not so terrible books from my youth I can get my husband to read before he reconsiders this whole marriage. Hi.
Hey, love.
Welcome back.
Yeah, welcome back.
Welcome back. We took an extended break.
So, what's worse than having 2 days of vacation left?
Having 2 days of vacation left and having to read the Babysitter's Club?
Having to spend those 2 days reading a super special, extra long Babysitter's Club.
I mean, I did give you more time than that.
Yes.
It's fine. I love you.
I love you.
Thank you. How's your candle nights?
Overall good.
Yeah? Did you do anything fun?
I don't know. Did you?
For a few days, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. We went to Harry Potter World.
It was a mixed bag.
It's interesting coming from a disabled lens. It's definitely different than it would have been otherwise.
Day one was absolutely horrible.
Yeah.
And if we had not gone back for the last 2 days that we had paid tickets for, I would have been perfectly happy.
Well, I mean, I wouldn't have been. I mean, in hindsight, because the last 2 days were
I'm glad
great.
we went back.
Yes.
But I would have been perfectly happy if we had not.
Yeah, if we hadn't already bought the tickets after the first day, I would have said no, because the first day was so terrible.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you're disabled, don't rent one of the electric chairs they have there at the park, because they cost as much as an interactive wand for a day, and they're too big to get into all the restrooms and the restaurants inside Harry Potter World.
Yeah, so it's really strange because everything there is really tight. Like all the shops you go into to them, and they've have tried to put as much as they could in a very small space for every one of them.
Because you got to have the money. That's above all.
Now the thing is, it's tight for people that are standing up and perfectly able. It's like people standing waiting for people to move by before they can go out of doors. And
and Christmas is the most crowded time of year there.
So that was on top of an already bad situation, is that apparently that's the busiest time of the year for Universal and Harry Potter World.
Because it's magical at Muggle Christmas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, it's watching as you're getting frustrated and driving in this big ass, whatever they had you, electric vehicle thing that they had you in. I mean, there were literally places you really weren't supposed to go. Like, I mean, so like at restaurants, you could not get through lines.
Yeah.
Because
there are, like ride lines to get into the Leaky Cauldron and the Three Broomsticks.
And they don't tell you that before you get into the line. That, hey, this is going to be very difficult, if not impossible for you to do.
The rides, we had already looked into it, and you have to transfer to a manual chair that they have there for you. And that was fine, because I knew that going in, and I expected it, and all the people who worked on the rides were great. They were all really nice and really respectful, and they knew what they were doing. And yeah, they were all wonderful. But yeah, at the restaurants, you still have those, back and forth lines that a chair can't go through, an electric chair can't go through. And the workers there, it was like they weren't expecting people in chairs to be there in their restaurant, which was ridiculous because there were tons of people in wheelchairs all over the park. their own manual chairs or their own electric chairs or the park electric chairs. So it wasn't a new thing, but everybody reacted to me like it was.
Yeah.
And it was just so weird.
It kind of seems like maybe there's a hierarchy, like everybody who's new and gets hired goes to the restaurants or something similar. And then later on, you get to move up to the rides.
Yeah,
because they really had no idea.
But it was just, I mean, if I were one of the very few people in chairs there, I maybe would have understood. I mean, it still would have been shit, but,
Yeah. And then, like, all of the rides end at a gift shop. So if you're trying to get into a gift shop, it's already bad. And then all of a sudden you have this influx of people who are just
like every 5 minutes.
Yeah, are getting off of a ride and coming through the anyway.
Which, I mean, again, I understand. That's a great way to make money for them because capitalism above all. But yeah. Plus, on our first day, now some of the more optimistic people in our party said, well, it's kind of like England weather, I guess, but it was rainy and cloudy and windy and cold for Orlando. And that did not help because I hate cold wind more than anything.
So I saw this like psychological thing going on with people in these very large crowds. And when there's a very large crowd, you get a herd mentality, and it's like people see any small opening or gap in the crowd. They use that. They step into it. They use it to cross paths, to go other ways, to move forward faster. And when you're in a chair, you kind of have to, first of all, the chairs were not responsive. It did not stop immediately. It did not start immediately when you push the...
Yeah, it takes like a second, which doesn't seem like a long time, but...
So, I mean, even with all the crowding, we were trying to stay about a foot behind the people in front of us.
And that's way too much.
And people just kept stepping right in front, stepping in front. And, even in the day 2 and day 3, when we were in the push wheelchair,
right? Because we did not rent it again.
it was still happening. It was, it was the first time I've seen that in such a large crowd and a herd mentality.
Yeah,
and
it was interesting.
It's like the people were not doing it consciously.
No.
It was totally a subconscious thing where they were just taking the spot. And I understand that because I've done that in large groups where I'm just, I see an empty space. I'd step forward real quick and get into it and move along or step across a path.
Or even our friends.
You don't even...
While you're there with us, they unconsciously did it.
Yeah.
Not to us. No, they did do it once.
Yes.
But yeah, you're not thinking about it. It's just, force of habit. If I could read off this list I made while we were there that I was going to post on Facebook, but then didn't. Just as kind of like a PSA. Like we said, chairs don't stop and start, so don't expect them to, and don't cross right in front of wheelchairs. And a couple other things, like the chairs are an extension of our bodies. This goes for anywhere, anytime. If you bump into the chair, like maybe apologize as if it were, a body part of a person because it's jarring. And also never, ever, ever, ever push another wheelchair, even though think you might be trying to help. That didn't happen on the trip. It's just the general. And also, okay, a lot of people I know, they intended to be nice, and like stepped out of the way and said, "Oh, go ahead." But like sometimes I was trying to look at something,
Yeah.
And so I know they were trying to be nice, but it's like, just check out and see maybe we're looking at something. It feels like we need to be getting out of the way.
Yeah.
Like all the time. Anyways, that's what I have.
Yeah. I mean, the first day when we were in such large crowds and we were trying to go through the stores, I mean, literally that I just wanted to get through it. I just wanted to get you through it.
I know.
I mean,
you want to be out of Ollivander so fast.
Me individually, I don't want to be in that kind of a crowd.
No,
store.
And, yeah.
So I was very anxious for you as well.
It was not a good day. Yeah. But the next 2 days were so much fun, except for the Simpsons ride.
Yeah.
Because you got so sick. Poor thing. I'm sorry.
Yeah, digital rides are not my bag.
No. Yeah. No.
I went to Six Flags. I don't remember which ride it was, but it was like the first time they had one of those 3D rides where you just go on and it acts like you're on a roller coaster. And you have the glasses on and you're in chairs that pick you up and swing you around. Yeah. But it was the first thing we did in the park, and I got so sick I had to leave.
Yeah. It was a shame you didn't get to go on the next one. I don't remember what it was, but yeah.
E.T.
Oh, yeah. E.T. Where that bastard, no, I'm going to say it was the bad guys in the suits, stole my wand, and I lost it, and I was so upset. But lost and found it, and I have it back now. They shipped it to me for a lot of shipping money. It was ridiculous. It was $22.
Yeah, so we drove, I guess I drove something like 45 hours in 1 week.
Yeah.
From
Texas to Orlando and back.
And then
from the Airbnb and
so it was
Universal.
So it was from McKinney to Tyler, back to McKinney, to Orlando.
To Nacogdoches.
Oh, to Nacogdoches, to Orlando. Back to Nacogdoches, back to McKinney, back to Tyler, back to McKinney in 1 week.
It was a lot of fun.
It was a lot of driving.
It was a lot of driving. But we had a lot of fun on the way there.
Yeah.
Yeah. We were playing rotating DJs, everybody picking a song and singing along, and it got silly and fun. It was a great time.
I mean, as fun as 18 to 19 hours of driving.
Well, we weren't driving. You were the only one driving, so it was not fun for you. But we were delightful company, right?
Sure.
Ouch. Anyway, we did have a great time overall. I think. Yeah.
And it's always better than working.
Mm-hmm. But you had a week off before and a week off after, too. And so that was great.
Yeah, the week off after was the best.
Yeah.
I think I was anticipating the drive and the crowds the week before.
Yeah, you're definitely a pessimist on stuff like that.
Yeah. I find it hard to get, you were asking, are you excited?
Yeah. Nope.
No.
Which kind of puts a damper on my excitement, but it's fine. We got through it. We got through the trial of Harry Potter World.
Yes.
Which, by the way, was the week after J.K. Rowling came out with her uber transphobic turfy bullshit. So I felt a lot of guilt in going. I mean, but we'd already paid for our tickets and we're planning this whole big trip, and I'm not trying to make excuses. I'm ashamed I still went. But if you look at any of my profile pictures, I at least made a shirt that said trans rights are human rights in the Harry Potter font and wore that the first day. So. And
we got a picture in front of the castle.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. I guess castle.
Hopefully at least that was something. It's a castle.
Yeah.
Okay. We have spent almost 14 minutes talking about it.
Sweet.
So let's get into this week's book, which was Super Special Number 1, Babysitters on Board, by Anna Martin, published in July of 1988. Tell us about it.
Christy, Marianne, Stacy, Claudia, and Dawn are the luckiest babysitters in the world. This summer, they're going on the greatest trip ever. A plane ride to Florida, a boat trip around the Bahamas, and then 3 days of fun in Disney World. Of course, they have a million adventures. Claudia gets notes from a secret admirer. Christy, Marianne, and Stacy make some unusual new friends. Dawn has her first real romance, and they still have time for what they like best of all, babysitting, which is bullshit.
It is bullshit.
3 of them have a tiny, tiny, tiny bit of babysitting. And the other 2, Marianne and Stacy, are babysitting the whole time. Other than an hour and a half to 2 hours a day that they get off from babysitting.
I mean, but that's how it happened.
So the whole premise, starting off, I'm sure you're going to talk about it, but I'm going to talk about it instead.
Okay.
Is that
I'll sit back and drink my drink. That's fine.
The Pikes are going on this trip, and they've asked Stacy and Marianne to babysit again, to be mother's helpers.
Yes.
Because they did it at the beach and did such a good job, which, at first thought, you're thinking, okay, great for Stacy and Marianne. Cool. They get, to have this little adventure, but they've got to work while they're doing it. Mm-hmm. Well, then Christy tells her stepdad about it, and he decides, oh, well, we all need a vacation too. So we're going to go on the exact same trip. And we're going to get Claudia and Dawn to go as our guest, absolutely free, and have to do nothing.
Because he felt bad leaving 2 of the Babysitters Club behind.
Yeah.
May I interject with this? Sam and Charlie are on this trip too. Were they not a little salty about not having any of their friends come on the trip?
Yeah, probably. Yeah, didn't think about it.
Yeah.
They don't really even talk about them much.
No, they don't. There's one point, I think it's the first day at Disney World, David Michael goes off with his older brothers. Mm. That's it. That is the only mention of them. Yeah. I mean, they were probably part of the list of all the people who were going, but...
So it's like, you would think that being good friends, that they would say, okay, well, like, we're going to take turns babysitting. Mm-hmm. Like, okay, now Stacy and Marianne can go off and do things by themselves, and we'll take over for a few hours,
But they weren't hired to do it.
But, yeah, anyway.
I know, it's shit.
Anyway, those are all deal. There's no mention of them actually getting paid. It's like they're just
That's true.
There for the vacation part of it.
Yeah. Okay, so here's my big thing on that sort of kind of. Like, for one thing, I think this is the first book where any realism there was goes just completely off the rails. Because, okay, Mr. Pike won this vacation through work, through some contest. It's already unbelievable that his work pays for the trip for 10 whole people. Usually something like that is like a trip for 4 or something. It's 10 people in the family. And then who's paying for Stacy and Marianne to go along? Is it his work? Are they paying for 2 people? Which I guess would probably be the closest. It would be paying for them to go and then not paying them a rate, a babysitting rate.
Yeah. It does not mention that.
But they got paid at Sea City. Didn't they? I'm pretty sure they did.
I don't remember.
So they got a vacation. I mean, this is definitely a different vacation than driving to Sea City.
But it's a lot more work too.
It is so much more work. Yeah. Because the parents, okay, Watson and Elizabeth do spend a lot of time with Karen and Andrew. But the Pike parents spend 0 time with their children. Yes. Which, I mean, I kind of find hilarious. But, yeah. So, yeah, we're gonna have this new segment. What's your favorite and least favorite part of the book? And it can be either something very specific or like an overall story arc. So I guess, would your least favorite be the whole 2 of them getting to go?
Yeah, I mean, that would be up there. I think another least favorite part would be the amount of time that they allow these young kids to be on their own.
Oh, yeah.
In strange places, including strange islands.
Yeah.
Where they just let their kids go off.
That was buck wild.
Yeah.
Yeah.
With no adult supervision.
So how about a favorite?
The favorite was when I was reading the book and snuggling with little man in the bed.
Oh my God. No, you have to pick something from the story. And not when it ended. It cannot be when it ended for every book we read from here on out. No. You have to pick something from the story. Because I would like you to find one good thing. I'll give you mine in time to think about it.
I would say maybe the including the old man in with with Christy including the older man into her kind of vacation stuff, because Christy's a bitch, but sometimes she does nice things.
That was my actual favorite part as well, is Christy's relationship with Mr. Staples. It was really nice and different because it wasn't a kid, I guess. But then my least favorite part was her trying so hard to set him and her grandmother Nanny up, because he's on this trip because his wife died two months earlier.
Yeah.
Like, Christy, come on.
Yeah.
But I mean, I guess she's 13. She doesn't really have ignorance. That. But he didn't seem opposed to it, to be fair.
I think probably it was more like he just didn't say anything.
Yeah, he was humoring her.
Yeah.
Yeah, which was very nice of him. But yeah, I thought all that was lovely, them playing games together. And yeah, I thought that was nice. So, on a scale of 1 being the best book ever to The Dementor's Kiss of 10, sucking the soul from your love of reading, where would you rate it?
I would probably say it would be a 4, but I'm giving it a 5 because it was so long.
Well, back in the day, this was a big one, because it was the first super special, which I liked that it was longer. And also going on a cruise and going to Disney World, like, that's so fantastic to a little kid, and, like them going off on their own and stuff on an island. I mean, that was just like, wow.
I mean, the thought of it's fun, but you don't think about all the people who have been kidnapped and murdered.
Not when you're 9, and especially painting it as so much fun like this. And yeah.
Right.
So it was like a 2 back in the day.
Yeah.
It's probably a 4 now because I still thought it fun.
Yeah.
And especially after coming on the heels of our own Orlando vacation, though we were at the other park other than Disney World, it was kind of fun. But yeah, there's a lot of frustrating shit. So can't rate it any higher than a 4. For sure. So let's get into it.
So, I had mentioned that this was probably, because this was a super special, Anne must have been, making some decent money by this point. And she's like, okay, I'm going to do research. I'm going to go on vacation and do research.
Probably.
So she took herself a cruise, and then she went to Disney World.
Because it's very detailed.
Made notes about it and then wrote a story about it.
Yeah. Like Mallory. So it's a grand total of 21 people going on this cruise in Disney World trip. And apparently the vast majority have never been on a plane before. And Christy especially is very loud about how it's the most amazing thing. And the entire group behaves as if there is no one else on the plane. Like, they're all yelling to each other, and oh, Margot's throwing up.
Like, it's like a Brady Bunch special.
But with like twice as many people. Yep. And yeah, I'd basically want to kill them all if I were on that plane. Yeah. So Dawn and Christy and Claudia are sharing a room on the trip, and it starts to go really badly right away because Christy's a mess and Dawn's a neat freak and always cleaning up after her, and they're both being really annoying and goading each other.
Now, let's put this out there.
Okay.
Dawn's annoying is that she's picking up after Christy.
Yeah.
Christy's annoying is being a bitch intentionally by, like, she does something where she takes a wrapper off of something.
A deck of cards. Which?
Like, looks Dawn in the face and then drops the package on the ground. At one point, she takes stuff that's on the table and just, like, arm sweeps it off. Okay. This is not Dawn. This is Christy being a bitch.
Right. But Dawn is being... I mean, she's being passive aggressive about her cleaning up too.
Mm-hmm. You're like sharing a space. You're sharing a space with other people.
I agree. Christy's being terrible, but the way Dawn's doing it is like back at her. Obviously. Okay. So anyway, Dawn leaves to go explore the ship, and she literally runs into a hot guy. And they talk for a minute, but he then practically runs away when she asks who he's traveling with. Marianne takes Nikki and Vanessa to go exploring, starting at the bottom of the ship and working their way all the way to the top. And on one floor, there is a casino with slot machines. For adults only, I noted sadly. Who knew Marianne had such a gambling streak in her, apparently?
I mean, it's kind of like an adult video game. So.
I guess. But she hasn't ever had an interest in anything of the sort before.
No.
But, oh. So there's also a teen center, which we never hear about again.
No.
Because our gals are not normal teens. They spend a lot of the time on the ship looking for other particular teens, but never think to check there, apparently. So outside this beauty parlor, Marianne gets hella creepy, gawking at another teenage girl wearing a skimpy bikini, and she has a figure that filled out the top of the bikini nicely.
So what was Anne thinking about with this character? Because there are multiple times when Mary Ann just pulls up, like stops and can't say anything because she finds this girl so beautiful.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. She's definitely got a crush. She even says aloud, "Wow." Just looking at this girl. And the girl turns around and starts talking to her and tells Marianne how she's traveling alone. And she might start to say that her parents were killed. But then she gets called away for her hair appointment. And yeah, Marianne definitely has a crush. On the top deck, they spot a boy jump out from under a tarp on a lifeboat and run away. Nikki and Vanessa chase after him, but they lose him. And they're like, "We've spotted a stowaway." Mallory and the triplets are allowed to go out and roam on their own, which Mallory says is perfect. This is our first time Mallory point of view, which I love.
So later with the stowaway, they're looking for the stowaway at Disney World.
Yeah.
How does a stowaway get a ticket to Disney World? They don't just hand the tickets to them when they get off the boat.
He jumped.
He also snuck into
or something. Yeah.
Gotcha.
I don't know. Anyway, Mallory's psyched because she wants to pull some Harriet the Spy shit just without, getting caught.
Yes, that was
and
nice.
all of her problems.
She had read Harriet the Spy and really wanted to do the
same. So I loved that. When I was younger, that was my favorite shit, was the Mallory shit. And I just like Mallory, and it was nice to get her point of view. But anyways, while she's out, she sees this same girl that Marianne did. And she hears her saying that she's an actress. And she also sees a sad-looking old man, a kid in a wheelchair named Mark, who is more interesting than the girl, more sad than the old man, and very curious. It's just a kid in a wheelchair, Mallory. Okay. But anyways. And also a guy that she's certain is a musician in her favorite group, Spider from the Insects. Super cool. And the stowaway kid. Here we go. We also get our first Karen point of view chapter.
The little psychopath.
The little psycho. So Christy takes Karen, Andrew, and David Michael to go swimming at one of the pools. Because Watson and Elizabeth want to take naps after they finish unpacking. I'm sure it was naps. But anyways, Karen forgets her earplugs that she just has to wear in the pool. And she asks if she can go back and get them all by herself. And Christy fucking lets her. She is 6 years old. I can see letting 11-year-old Mallory go around on her own. But 6-year-old Karen. But whatever. So she allows her to do so. And of course, Karen can't just do what she's supposed to. Go there and write back. She goes and gets a fucking manicure. And then stops off for a drink.
And charges it to her room.
And charges it to her father's cabin because she's seen him do that at a hotel before. Like, wow.
White privilege.
And then when she finally gets back to the pool, Christy's upset, but Karen barely gets in trouble. Like, Christy forgives her, like, right away. And I'm hoping it's because she felt guilty for letting her go off on her own. But yeah, like, she loves it so much, she takes a picture of Karen's manicure. Now, speaking of the pictures, did you love them?
Yeah, I mean, it added something. So, yeah, I always like pictures in books.
Did you appreciate these particular pictures, though?
Some were okay.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I think they're mainly terrible. Anne did these herself.
Oh. Well, I mean, they're supposed to be from kids, right?
No, they're supposed to be actual photographs.
Oh, okay, that's right.
That they put in the scrapbook. Yeah. The flying banana picture is a particular favorite in the fandom. Because it is pretty good. And the wheelchair perspective one. Oh, man. But anyways, in future super specials, she actually gets her dad to draw them. If you'll remember, he's an actual artist, and they're much better. Claudia fashion alert! I put on my new blue and white bikini, and over that, a pink sundress with spaghetti straps at the shoulders and big blue buttons down the front. Then I accessorized. I tied a pink and blue scarf around my waist, knotting it in the middle, added my snake bracelet and feather earrings, wound my hair up on top of my head, and finally put on these white sandals with long laces that you could crisscross up your legs and tie in a bow. That is a look, Claudia, and I am here for it. So at breakfast, in her super awesome outfit, she gets a note from a secret admirer telling her she's beautiful. And all the while, Dawn is staring at a gorgeous guy.
I have to say that almost everything that this secret admirer does seems more stalkerish to me.
Absolutely.
Than something you would actually want and look forward to.
It is all extremely creepy. And also, I mean, she's just assuming, I guess, that it's a boy around their age. This could be like a 56-year-old creeper man. She doesn't know.
Yeah.
Anyway, while Dawn's staring at her guy, Claudia nudges Christy and pointed to Dawn. Psst, I whispered, I think Dawn's on the prowl. That's gross. They're 13.
Well, I mean 13, yeah. That's
on the prowl.
Hormones, man.
Oh, I know. That's just the phrase, I guess. So that day they stop at Nassau, and she sees a shadow and a figure jumping out of the way when she takes a picture. And then she finds another fucking note in her bag. Yeah, I said here she doesn't have a secret admirer. She has a stalker. And at the end of the day, she admires this pair of earrings in a store, but they're way too expensive. But what do you know, when she stops and has a Coke, the waiter also brings a box with the earrings. That is super fucking creepy.
Yeah, I mean, this guy is watching her hard.
Really, really closely, and I hate it. Hey, kids! Do you love fighting over the card catalog?
Totally!
Now you can find your favorite podcasts all over the World Wide Web. Look for us on Facebook, Instagram, Tumblr, YouTube, and Pinterest at Fighting Over the Card Catalog, or on Twitter at Card Catalog Pod. And as a special bonus, head over to our very own website, fightingoverthecardcatalog.com. And now, you can get the inside scoop on co-host Jess on Instagram and Twitter at Jess Digress.
Whoa!
Next, you can become a junior cataloger just by sharing us with your friends and rating and subscribing on Apple Podcasts.
Whoa!
Available wherever podcasts are sold. podcast not actually sold, but available in all podcatchers for free. Junior catalogers under the age of 18, ask your parent or guardian's permission before downloading. So during Marianne and Stacy's hour-and-a-half break, they are expected to go to a club meeting, which is very unproductive. Aside from Christy deciding that they all need to figure out a present to give to the Pikes and the Brewers, which, I mean, I don't think Stacy and Marianne need to be a part of that. They are working for them.
Yeah.
Anyways, Stacy goes up to the top deck to watch the ocean after this terrible meeting, and there she meets Mark, the boy in the wheelchair, and they bond over their medical issues. He has a heart problem. So I was trying real hard to remember that this was 1988, and handicapped and crippled were acceptable phrases. So I do wonder if they're changed in the audiobooks, which came out last year. I'm very curious about that. Later, there's a storm, and the ship starts rolling, and everything in the cabin goes flying, and of course, Margot gets sick. And Stacy takes her to her parents' cabin, but Stacy has to clean out the trash can. I wouldn't make the babysitter do that myself. So Christy and Dawn's war is continuing, and they're both acting really immature. So Christy goes up to the pool to lounge around. That's where she meets a grumpy old man named Rudy Staples, who, remember, his wife has died a couple months previously. He's on this trip for a change of scenery to kind of get away. Yeah, and get out of his head. Then they go and play some video games and shuffleboard, and it is actually quite adorable. When she gets back to her cabin, Christy finds that Dawn has spent the entire morning cleaning. So she goes bitching to her mom and asks to switch rooms with Karen, and she thinks that's fair to her, at least, but her mom at least shuts her down pretty quickly. She's like, do you think Claudia and Dawn would appreciate sharing her room with Karen? And yeah, no, I'd rather die. Thank you. But that would be some babysitting on their part, which apparently they love so much.
Mm-hmm.
We also get a point of view chapter from Byron, the best of the triplets. He, Nikki, and David Michael are allowed to go off on their own when the ship docks at Treasure Key. Now, these are 7 to 10-year-olds. 5 boys, 10 and under. Whoa. I mean, I'd have problems letting them go along on the ship all by themselves. But on an island nobody has ever been to before. And they go into the water. I definitely would have put that off limits. Come on. So the boys are all about pirates and spend their time looking for buried treasure, which does sound fun for sure. And then they find what they think is a treasure map. And they're like, oh, it could be for anywhere. Even the boat.
Yeah.
And Disney. But again, they're 10 and under. Young enough to have that sort of, imagination, but not to spend alone time, maybe, on an island. But anyways, Dawn thinks she's in love with this hot guy she met. His name is Parker, and soon they spend all their time together, and it's really pretty boring. They bond over parents being divorced. His dad just got remarried to a woman that has 2 boys that he thinks are brats. And he thinks his dad is being selfish. And Dawn actually thinks Parker is, but of course she doesn't say anything. He's too gorgeous to piss off. So the triplets do get in trouble on the ship for running around and being 10-year-olds. So they're back to being sad. Because God forbid the Pikes actually spend any time with their children. It's just more work for Stacy and Marianne.
An hour and a half to 2 hours a day.
So Marianne gets put in charge of them, plus Nikki, and then David Michael joins them. So she's looking after 5 kids all by herself. Have fun, Marianne. What a great vacation. So they go all around this ship looking for treasure. And Marianne gets bored because, yeah. But then runs into her crush. And they talk. And turns out her name is Alex. And she's traveling with her brother. And her parents were indeed killed. Marianne's confused as to why she would lie to the people at the beauty parlor about traveling alone. But she thinks she's found a true friend because they bond over Marianne's mom being dead and Alex's parents being killed. Stacy takes Margot and Claire. Mallory takes Vanessa to go read, which sounds dope. But anyways, to go get souvenirs, go swimming, and then to the arcade. And on the way, they run into Mark and his dad. And Mark wants to go to the arcade, but his dad says it gives him a headache. So Stacy offers to take him. Because let's just keep collecting children to babysit on your super cool vacation.
Yeah, and I would think, I don't know. I would think the arcade, if he can't walk because his heart's too weak.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, isn't the arcade gonna?
Yeah, because your adrenaline gets going.
Yeah,
because later on he's not allowed to go on any rides, just like the very, very tame ones.
So maybe Anne has never played a video game and she just sees the kids doing it.
That could very well be true. But anyways, Mark's dad lets her take him. And he says that he's sure she's responsible. Like, seriously, you talked to her for a few minutes the other night. Like, Stacy figures this because, she takes responsibility for her diabetes and everything, but you still barely know this girl.
Yeah.
But, okay. Whatever, Mr. Kubaki? Yeah. Anyways, all three of the kids have really good time playing games. But then they all get a little down when Mark tells them how he won't be able to go on the cool rides at Disney World. So Stacy takes them all for an ice cream to cheer them up at the unfortunately named Scooper Duper.
Huh.
It does work though. They get cheered up and they run into Claudia eating a sundae all by herself. And when Stacy's in line to pay, she hears this guy in front of her say that he'll pay for her sundae too. So Stacy looks and sees a woman and a girl in the restaurant, but neither of them looks like they deserved a secret admirer. Damn, Stacy, throw that shade. So the guy must mean Claudia, but she takes so long throwing the shade on these other people that by the time she turns back, he's gone. So after she pays, she runs over to Claudia.
Can you just see her standing there contemplating, tilting her head to the side? No, she doesn't deserve a secret admirer.
No, neither does she.
Old. She doesn't deserve.
Oh no, where did he go? Anyway, she runs over to Claudia and tells her how she just missed him, but Claudia thinks she might be able to catch him. So she runs on out of there. And Stacy said that she thinks that he has brown hair, but she bumps into a boy with blonde hair and she asks him, "Did you see someone running by?" And he's like, "Oh yeah, did, totally." And Claudia's bummed to have missed him again. Claudia's really not that smart. So they introduce themselves and his name is Timothy and he's actually from a town not far from Stony Brook. And they make plans to hang out with each other at Disney World. And when she gets back to the cabin, Claudia lays down the fucking law for Don and Christy, and I am pretty impressed. She's like, she expects them to quit arguing when they get to their hotel room, which will surely be larger. But when they do get there, Christy totally starts being a bitch again and tries goading Don into a fight. But that's when Claudia really lays the smack down and she demands that they call a truce. And they actually do, and they're friends again. And they get really, they're so innocent. Oh my God. They get so excited over the possibility of watching R-rated movies on their TV and all the free hotel shit, like shitty shampoo and soap and the fridge and minibar. But Watson says, no, don't even think about it. That shit is so expensive. I've never actually seen a stocked fridge and minibar in a hotel before.
Yeah, I have.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Like, recently? Like, not with me recently, unless there was one in Boston.
No, not since we've been together. I mean, it's not like I stay in hotels a lot.
I know. So I'm wondering if this was like more of a back in the day thing. I mean, I've certainly never stayed in a hotel fancy enough. I don't.
Well, I know when I went to Andover, there was a water. They had a water in the room. And if you didn't read the sign carefully, you would have just thought, okay, complimentary water. No. It was like a $4 water.
Did they just put in there to tempt you?
Yeah, and if you drink it, then they charge it to your room.
Interesting. Yeah. But like a full thing stocked?
Yeah. I mean, I don't even remember where, but yes.
A long time ago, though?
Yeah. I know there was one in Los Angeles. And that was 20 years ago.
Wow.
19 years ago.
Wow. So the girls go exploring the hotel, which doesn't sound that fun, but okay. And Christy spots Mr. Staples trying to check out and go home. But she goes and talks him out of it. She's like, I thought we were going to hang out at Disney World together. And it's very good. So we're finally at Disney World, and Watson and Elizabeth take Andrew and Karen to the park themselves. Good parenting. They go to the Haunted Mansion, which Karen's like super psyched about, and it says something about a hitchhiking ghost. So Karen gets convinced that now she has a ghost following her forever. And Andrew gets scared by Snow White, and it's pretty great. I mean, she just fucking appears out of nowhere. I'd get scared. Dawn fashion alert. All right, Claudia helps her choose it from Claudia's big ass stash of clothing that she has brought. A white tank top under lavender overalls, lavender push down socks, lavender high top sneakers, and a beaded Indian belt, which we looped droopily twice around my middle. In my hair, we put lavender and white clips that looked like birds. I thought they were just any kind of bird, but Claudia swore up and down they were birds of paradise. I would totes wear this outfit. Hell yeah. So much purple. So Dawn had to get all dressed up, of course, to spend the day with Parker. These girls will throw away their friends for a boy in a hot second. Oh my. But Dawn's a little bitchy with Parker at first because she's like, I've been to Disneyland in California like 10, 12 times. She doesn't even know.
She just wasn't excited about the rides.
Yeah, I know, but she sounds like such a bummer. He's like, you don't sound excited. So she kind of tries, but...
I mean, like, she's going on a ride. It has the exact same name. She's been on it 9 times.
Yeah.
At the other park.
But it turns out it is better. Somehow. Was it Space Mountain?
One of them was. I think it was Space Mountain, yeah.
Yeah. But anyways, after that, she's better because apparently it was so much better. And then she buys a glass unicorn charm to put on her antique bracelet that has a lot of sentimental value. And then they run into Parker's family, and his dad asks them to watch the boys for like just an hour. And what do you know? Turns out they're not brats after all. And then Dawn discovers she's lost her bracelet, and she cries. Why would you wear something so important to Disney World? When you're going on rides and shit, it could easily fly off.
Yeah, I guess you never really think about it breaking, something breaking.
I would.
She was trying to impress a boy.
That's right. She's got to wear her best shit. So they don't find it, but Parker does buy her a new unicorn. Okay, so Dawn only has $8.50 left for 3 days at Disney World. And then she spends 6 of it on this unicorn.
Yeah. I mean, how
Girl, what
live?
you doing?
How you gonna live?
Like, I know,
I guess
sure,
they're getting breakfast with the families.
Yeah, they're probably getting breakfast
doing
and dinner
together, yeah.
Yeah. But you still got lunch and you need to hydrate. Anyway, she's 13. She's not thinking. She got herself a unicorn, which made her purple outfit even better, frankly. I'm in love with it. So Mallory's still trying to be a spy, but turns out it's pretty boring because normal people are pretty boring. Until she spots Alex, Marianne's crush, and gets in line behind her. See what's up. And it turns out, she's in line with her brother and her parents. And the parents are this famous singing couple. And Mallory cannot wait to tell all this shit to Marianne. So Mallory has to wait until Marianne gets back from a club meeting, which is unproductive again. Why can't they just hang out?
Yeah.
Why does it always have to be an official meeting? Because I mean, pretty much all that I know is the Babysitter's Club.
Because the name of the book is The Babysitter's Club.
And Christy's a Nazi, basically. But I mean, that's like all they end up doing. Yeah, they talk about the kids, but I mean, that's what some of them have been doing all day. Anyways, when Marianne gets back, she is pissed to hear this news. And when she sees Alex the next morning, she right away just straight up calls her a liar. And that's pretty great, frankly. But then Alex spends the entire day following Marianne, Claire, and Margot around trying to make up. And Marianne just ignores her. And then Alex finally has to give up when Margot throws up on her shoes. They have a really fucked up relationship. Poor Stacy gets stuck with the 5 boys again. And they're still all obsessed with pirates and finding treasure. But then Byron actually does find something, but it turns out to be Dawn's bracelet. And she cries when they give it to her. No unicorn, though, but it's okay.
I knew as soon as they said they were going to... What area was it? Oh,
that was Tom Sawyer.
Tom Sawyer Island or something. Yeah. I knew as soon as they said that they were going to find the bracelet.
Yeah, of course. Oh, God. Okay, Karen's being a super brat. And while at the character breakfast thing, she lies and says it's her birthday. So the entire room sings to her. Huh. And she's like, well, the ghost made me do it.
Yeah.
Bitch.
Her dad's like, I should send you outside.
But I won't because it'll look bad in front of all these people.
And then she lied to him again and said, well, the ghost made me do it.
Yeah.
And then it's like, she's even internal monologuing saying, I don't know why I said that.
Yeah, she's like, I know it wasn't true, but...
Because you get away with it.
Yeah, she totally gets away with it.
Your little psycho self will get away with it later in life when you kill somebody and say, oh, my ghost told me to do it.
Yeah.
I didn't mean to lock him in that chest and bury him underground.
What's our theory? If we don't know what it is, it was the ghost.
It was a gift. It's the only possibility.
But later on, she gets lost and scared, but she says that the ghost comforts her until she finds Elizabeth. She really does have some problems. Holy shit. Stacy, Claire, and Margot run into Mark and his parents again at Epcot, and we all decide to spend the day together. Stacy is like surprised that everybody working there acted as if a person in a wheelchair wasn't at all unusual, and certainly wasn't any trouble. I mean, yeah, I would hope so. Like I said, all the ride people were lovely at Universal. Most places an attendant would see us and say something like, and how many are in this wheelchair party? And yeah, I appreciated that. They didn't even say wheelchair party. They just look at us and say, how many are in your party? And then they would say, do you feel comfortable transferring to the right? And I thought that was a sensitive way of putting it in nice, but not insulting or condescending or anything.
Or trying to get a diagnosis for you. Can you walk?
Can you fucking walk, bitch? No. They did not do that. Like I said, all the ride people were lovely. During lunch, the kids all sit at one little table by themselves while Stacy sits with Mark's parents. And that's when they tell her that Mark is going to have a very risky heart operation. And they took him on this trip just in case anything should happen. So they'd have these memories. Stacy has the sads. But I can only think, my God, they must have a ton of money for a big, scary operation like that coming up and to just take this trip. I mean, a very expensive trip.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyways, it's sad.
Or some great benefactor.
I feel like if it were like a Make-A-Wish Foundation or something, they would have told her that. But
yeah,
it did not. Anyway, on their last night, everybody goes to watch the parade and fireworks, which they'd been missing every day. And now is when some truths come out. Turns out Timothy, Claudia's dude, is actually Alex's little brother, and he was also the stowaway. And obviously, the secret admirer. Yeah. He's a busy, busy man, that Timothy, I tell you what.
Yeah. So he wasn't really a stowaway. He was hiding different places to spy on people like Mallory was doing.
But doing a better job. Kind of, because he was seen.
I mean, okay, so he got seen that one time by people who he wasn't spying on.
Right.
But then all the times he was able to creep on Claudia without her knowing, he was pretty good.
Actually got seen twice. Nikki and Vanessa saw him jump out from under the tarp, and Mallory saw him jump out from a coiled rope thing. So that's twice. The Pikes are just very good at it, I guess. So Claudia feels really fooled, but she's not mad because she lets him kiss her. Aw, yeah, get you some, Claude. Later that night, at their final meeting, the girls finally come up with a present for the Pikes and Brewer adults. It's gonna be a scrapbook and a diary of the trip. It's really cute, them all reading about them all trying to remember what pictures they had taken, because remember, they had to actually get their film developed.
Yeah.
I hate that they're gonna have like a separate notebook diary though. It's like, come on, just make a nice little cute scrapbook and have like your accompanying stories and shit.
Right. But maybe before the scrapbooking craze.
Yeah, I guess. Anyway, so at the airport, everyone says goodbye and exchanges addresses with their new friends. Like Christy and Mr. Staples do, so she can hook him up with Nanny. On the plane, the boys are still looking at their treasure map. And then some guy passes by and he's like, "Oh, are you Dutch?" I know. He's like, "Oh, I just thought you were, because what you're looking at is a copy machine diagram written in Dutch." It's pretty good. It's a good little shenanigans. And then a few months after they get home, Stacy hears from the Kubakis. I don't know.
Kubakis is how I said
okay. It. Mark's surgery was really difficult, but he ended up fine, and he'll totally be a normal, healthy child in about a year. Huzzah.
And he wants a bicycle and a skateboard.
Hell yeah. All that dangerous shit he hadn't been able to do.
And then my favorite part of the book.
The end? What did we learn today? We learned that financial and probably white privilege can get you just about anything your little heart may desire. Whether it's bringing along two friends on a super expensive vacation with your family, or recklessly charging frivolous items to your father's account, and even just knowing how to do that at the age of 6. Or having the confidence to completely lie about your identity just for fun, or pose as a security risk just for laughs and stalk people you would like to know. You can do all of these and more with little to no consequence, and you happen to find yourself doing all these things in a middle grade children's novel. You'll even come across as a charming, lovable scamp. That's what I learned today.
I guess I learned that back in the good old days, people were a lot less worried about getting kidnapped or murdered when they go off alone on an island or a boat or a hotel or an amusement park. And And maybe it wasn't so much that it was safer, but that we were just so much more ignorant about the possibilities.
So right here, there should be a recap of the next chapter of Anne's fascinating life, but as this is a super special long book, we'll pick it back up next month. And it is not that I totally forgot about it until like an hour before you got home this evening. No, it's not that at all. It's about time. So what are you reading right now?
I've got I guess, Star Wars book. Called Annihilation.
Dun, dun, dun.
And it's been all right so far.
Has anybody gotten annihilated?
Not yet.
Oh.
Well, yeah, they have. There has been space battles, and hopefully it's been annihilated. Yeah. But the main character is a person who was the son of a Jedi.
Mm-hmm.
But Jedi are not supposed to have emotional attachments.
Correct.
So as soon as he was born, she gave him up to be raised by her. Guess who was he? He was her master. Mm-hmm. And then he goes off onto another planet and raises the kid without him knowing his parents. But he teaches him like how to survive and how to do meditation and some stuff, but he really doesn't teach him a whole lot of Jedi stuff because he expects that when he's old enough that he'll become a Jedi himself. And he goes and gets tested and they reject him because he's not force sensitive. Mm-hmm. And he starts working. So he starts working for a branch of the intelligence community for the Republic against the Empire. Cool. So yeah, I'm kind of in the middle of that one. I also have from that Lamplighter series, I've got the third book on that one. Finish Abaddon's Gate, which is the third book on the Expanse series.
Yes.
Really good, again. So I'm on the wait list for the fourth. And yeah, I guess that's it.
But are you going to watch this season before you read it? Or are you going to read it before you watch it?
Good question.
Thank you.
I don't know. I think maybe it's better if I watch it first because then I'm not quite as disappointed when I read the book and the book has more detail.
Nice.
Versus the other way around.
Have you set your reading challenge for this year?
I have not. So how many did you read last year?
I read 53, went over my goal of 52. But remember, I was not counting books I read that I was rereading for the podcast. But I'm going to this year because it does count. So I set 100 for this year.
So I think I'll probably go with 100 as well. Mm-hmm. And last year, I finished 93, not including our podcast books.
Okay. So right now I am reading The Voyage Out by Virginia Woolf. And it's about a bunch of rich British folks in the early 1900s traveling on a ship, a voyage out, get it, to a resort in South America. The main character is named Rachel, and it's like her journey or voyage, get it, from like this really closed off life in London to freedom and, to quote, a challenging intellectual discourse and discovery that very likely reflects Virginia Woolf's own journey from a repressive household to the intellectual stimulation of the Bloomsbury Group.
Feel you, Virginia.
Which was like a big old group of like English writers and intellectuals and philosophers and artists. They all knew each other. And,
where'd they meet?
They Hold on.
Sounds like the artists from France.
Yeah, I know. But before, like Ian Forster, and people were like part of it, and they mainly were closely associated with like Cambridge and King's College London, which was for women. And yeah, it did. It reminded me of all the Hemingway and what's his face, Fitzgerald, and all that. Yeah,
I was
expat group.
Yeah, I was thinking more of like drawing artists, Van Goghs and Degas and all those guys who got together in France, in Paris, during the same time frame.
Yeah. We're going to have another new segment here now. Don't worry, you don't have to do anything. I mean, you can throw in your opinions and whatnot. And we're going to call the No Snark Zone. So we finally arrived in our election year in the U.S. and primaries begin next month. And it's especially important to double check right now, even if you're certain you're registered, to check your status because of all the purging of the voter rolls. And vote.org is a great place to do that. Won't take you any time, but please do it now. It's very important. Especially important to vote because the world is literally on fire. So speaking of that, let's help Australia. Chris Hemsworth actually has recently tweeted out a really great link with a bunch of different charities, and it's really helpful because it specifies which charities are only accepting donations from Australia and which ones accept international donations. And of course, I'll put this in the show notes, but the address is lnk.bio/fight the bushfires.
I saw a clip of Steve Irwin's son on a talk show, and he was fighting back tears, talking about how the koalas need to be placed on the endangered list now because they're saying that probably 1 billion animals have died in the brush fires. Yeah,
I cannot look at the pictures. Yeah. I try to scroll past them real fast. I know they're effective and like help other people that need to see that sort of thing.
Motivated to do something.
Yeah. But yeah, it's completely triggering for me, but I'm not gonna bitch about it. I just get real emotional and scroll by it so fast. But anyways, yes.
Yeah, because literally people were not doing anything, even though this was going on.
This has been going on for so long.
Yeah, and people are just now starting to do something about it.
Yeah. So our next book,
and Puerto Rico as well.
And Puerto Rico as well, yes.
If you can, please help.
Yeah, they had hella earthquakes.
I mean, they're just trying to recover from the hurricanes, and now...
Yeah, and we are doing nothing for our American citizens.
2 back-to-back earthquakes that are making hospitals fall. National monuments are falling down.
Yeah, Hispanic Federation... I'm sorry, y'all. Unidos.org is... I actually just learned today, when Lin-Manuel guested on the Good Place podcast, that his dad started the Hispanic Federation in 1990 to help with things that Puerto Rico was not getting. So anyways, it's been like a well-established charity even before Hurricane Maria, and obviously done a ton of work for them for that, and we'll be doing so for the earthquake. So I'll put that link in the show notes as well. Our planet's literally on fire. Yeah. Anyways, our next book will be Deanie by Judy Blume, one of your favorites, but you don't think you've read Deanie, correct?
I don't recognize it, so.
Okay. It's a good one.
I might get halfway through the book and think, but
yeah.
Because a lot of times I just don't know titles.
Right. And good news, library has it as an audiobook, so you can listen to it this week. All right. Thank you so much for listening, everybody. I had fun with our first episode back. Again, sorry for the super long break, but, life happens. I'm sorry, though. Do you have fun being back?
Yeah, it was all right.
All right. We're rereading the books of your childhood.
So you don't have to.
Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.